Hello viewers, welcome to another segment of Uncut Africa Live, a program that brings you insight of African politics. I'm still your guy, De-Graft Amoako. African women has been described as the backbone of African continent, which is true. Today, I'm here to celebrate brave African women who has been able to defend this continent from Western powers in their media. Our mothers, sisters, and aunties defending this continent is not something new. Names like Yasantoa, Queen Nzinga, and Inamdi were heroes and fought hard to defend this continent. On this segment, I'm going to introduce 3 brave African women who don't entertain Western powers in their negative antics towards this continent. Let's watch these videos and I will be back.
The thing is that, as far as I'm concerned, since we met you people 500 years ago, look at us. We've given everything. You are still taking. It's true. I mean, where will the whole Western world be without Africa? Our cocoa, our timber, our gold, our diamonds, our platinum, our whatever. Everything you are is us.
Unfortunately, there's a very sad story. Madam Ata Aidoo, Ama Ata Aidoo, passed away, I think, last week. She passed away, and Africa has lost a great hero, somebody who has really fought for Africa freedom. So she passed away just last week. She should rest in perfect peace. She has been a great hero for Ghana and Africa as a continent. She should rest in perfect peace. She has added her quota, so she has now passed the baton, and we are going to also continue from where she stopped. So let's listen to her and I'll be back.
I am not saying it, it's a fact. And in return for all of this, what have we got? Nothing. Anti-personnel indoctrination against ourselves. If you go and cook your horrible diseases like AIDS, you say it is us. You brought us tuberculosis. We didn't have this big cough until white people came here. In exchange for Africa giving Europe 500 solid years of our people, I mean not Europe, the Western world, of our human beings to work your canes, to dig your gold, to taking gold itself, diamond, I mean, you know, fish, peanuts, palm oil, everything. In exchange for that, we have got nothing. Nothing. And you know it. Nothing. And you look upon, white folks look upon us like monkeys. It is true. It's in your literature. Hey, some of your best thinkers have said this about us. Have you heard of all these Germans? Have you heard? Okay. Yes. They said, Lord Burton, people like that, they said, we don't even have the brain of animals. That's what we've got from you people.
But don't you think that this is over now?
Over where? Is it over? Who said that AIDS came from the green monkey? Is it over? Is it over?
Well, if this is your impression, do you think that you can ever forgive us?
It's not a question of forgiveness. I have nothing against you. My point is that you did and you are doing for your survival what is necessary. We can't blame you for that. The fact that we didn't do enough for our own survival and we are still not doing enough for our survival, that is not your problem. even everybody that God has created has a sense of survival, and if we don't develop it, we can't blame white people. You came here because you needed these things. You took gunpowder from the Chinese. You needed them to shoot people.
Wow. I love her braveness. She was a brave woman who never hold back when it comes to spitting the truth. What I love about this video is at the end of the video, she's telling you we can't blame the whites for looking like protecting themselves or trying to survive. We can't blame them, but it's about time, I think, Africans too, we have to have a surviving instincts. We have to have these surviving instincts where we also have to start protecting our resources to survive. We can't be giving out our resources for free, and at the end of the day, we have nothing to show off. So she made this comment, and that's the most important thing. We can complain about slavery all we want, but if we don't take decision now to also think of how the world is all about surviving, if we don't take decisions now, we are going to perish. That's the truth. So let's watch the next video and I'll be back.
But the more I begin to understand us as black people, why is it that we are the most disrespected people on earth, no matter where you find us on this globe? They often wondered why these black people are so smart and so indestructible. Maybe it's because of that third eye. No, it is the melanin. That's what makes us special. That's what makes us the origin of humanity, which is our motherland. Our motherland, Africa. The continent with everything and anything the world needs. The continent that everybody is going to for their needs. But the continent that we, the children of Africa, are busy running away from.
That's the whole thing. We are rather running away from the continent, and people are rather running away to the continent to grab our resources. But the youth has given up, and everybody is now running away to Europe, running away to US, just to survive. So at the end of the day, we will come back and we will find nothing. All our resources will be gone. Africans, we have to think. We have to think. Let's continue.
The more I try to dig deeper in understanding as to why Africa is where Africa is today, I couldn't help but find myself repeatedly going back to the beginning to say, how did we end up where we are as Africans? How did we get here? Not only as black people, but as Africans. The colonizers started coming to Africa, starting with the Portuguese, followed with slavery. But by 1884, after they had been haphazardly going into our continent, looting from the Africans, pretty soon they started looting from each other the loot that they had looted from the Africans. And before you know it, they were killing each other. And they were getting ready to have a war, a European war on the African soil. So Bismarck, the Chancellor of Germany at that time, called his sidekick Leopold, King Leopold of Belgium, said, listen, we got a problem. We're getting ready to kill each other and have a European war in Africa? Why don't we call all the colonizers? That was France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, and of course the mighty Britain. Let's all meet in Berlin, Germany, and strategize on how we can organize ourselves so we can effectively see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. They proceeded to chop up our Africa into tiny little countries that we know of today. Economies that are designed to see to it that they will never make it on their own. And in the event those small economies do make it, they're easy to destabilize. Who, in their right mind, puts a country together like Gambia, Burundi, Togo, Djibouti, Lesotho, Swaziland, and many, if not all, African countries? Each one of them was given the same sovereignty as China, as India. If this world was to be a boxing game, you see, in boxing, they understand that heavyweights belong in the heavyweight boxing ring, middleweights in the middleweights, lightweights and wannabes in their rings. Wannabes are way out there. You don't take a wannabe boxer and throw them in the same ring with the heavyweight. But what's being done to our Africa, let's start negotiating. It's country against country. Countries, please stand up. Little Gambia stands up. And Gambia is supposed to negotiate with China. Lesotho is supposed to negotiate with India. Swaziland must jump in with the United States.
Fact.
Djibouti, you must go in. You see, the Europeans realize as individual European countries, they can make it. So they come together as the European Union. So they negotiate as a bloc. So yeah, Djibouti, you go in with EU. And when the African countries lose, the world stands back and says, what's wrong with you, African countries? Why aren't you able to manage your people? How can that be? Where is the parity? African countries are wannabe boxers who are constantly being thrown into the heavyweight boxing ring, and we're getting our rear ends kicked day in and day out.
Facts.
1884, fast forward 2019, nothing has changed. The strategy that was put in place to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated remains alive and well.
Exactly.
And yet in our minds we tend to think Berlin Conference is a thing of the past. Well, my brothers and sisters, Berlin Conference is alive and well.
Exactly.
And allow me to take it home for you. Have you ever wondered why intra-Africa trade is sitting at 18%? I'll tell you why. With 43 different currencies on the continent. It's difficult to trade with each other because of the currencies. It's easier for us to exchange with the US dollar with the euro than with each other. Why is that, Berlin Conference? It's easier for Mozambique to send Mozambican oil outside Mozambique to Europe and everywhere else, just so Zimbabwe next door can buy it from across the oceans. It's easier for a company that's manufacturing the best ceramic tiles in Africa, in Egypt. That company sends its tiles to Italy, only for the Africans to turn around and buy the same tiles, 20, 30 times the cost. Why is it that we are not trading with each other? It's because, starting in South Africa, there's a road that goes up until maybe 2-3 kilometers from the border with Botswana. And that same road picks up 2-3 kilometers into Botswana. And if only we could connect the two. But Berlin Conference said, no, you're different. You're another country. You can't look at it this way. If we were to connect all the existing power lines in Africa today, we would provide electricity to 30 million more people. And in the process, we would save $20 billion. But the reason we can't connect the power lines, thanks to Berlin Conference. We're different countries. We can cross that border. Why are our children crossing the Mediterranean in search of nothing? It's because little Gambia can only create so many jobs. And a young man in Gambia, which is surrounded by Senegal, cannot go to Senegal and look for a job. Thanks to the Berlin Conference. Question then becomes, if you look at all the issues we're dealing with today in Africa, one by one, every one of them relates back to the Berlin Conference and our inability to work together as one continent, one Africa, speaking with one voice. Thanks to Berlin Conference.
Listening to this woman. This woman is one of the advocates of Pan-Africanism or Pan-African. She has been advocating for unity of Africa for more than a decade. She has been really trumpeting the idea of Pan-Africanism. But I guess no one is listening because we are comfortable alone. But what we should know that unity is stronger than any other thing else. If we unite as a continent and try to, put policies that will support our ideas, our talents, our resources, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with. But we have been separated or we have been divided through borders, and it's becoming difficult to preach about unity when it comes to this continent. So we keep going on world trade as a single country, and it is not favoring any country. We just go on this, we go like small countries, and it's not helping anybody. Her name is Dr. Arikana Chihumbori Kwao, who is an activist, and also she's from Zimbabwe, but married to a Ghanaian, and her advocacy is one thing I really admired about her. The next video is a South African Minister of International Relations and Corporations. Her name is Grace Naledi Madisa. She has also been, been advocate of how the Western countries look at Africa and the hypocrisy of the Western powers. So let's listen to this woman, and after that, I can give my final comment on this. So let's watch this video.
I think this notion of international rules is very comfortable for some people to use when it suits them, but they don't believe in international rules when it doesn't suit them, because they don't apply international rules or law equally in all circumstances. So you can't say because Ukraine has been invaded that suddenly sovereignty is important, but it was never important for Palestine. It's very peculiar. If you believe in international law truly, then wherever sovereignty is infringed, it must apply. And this is the point we've been making, that we use the framework of international law unequally, depending on who is affected. And we are arguing that that must change. And one of the interesting changes that has occurred is the sudden movement, because Russia has invaded Ukraine, that we say, okay, let's not allow the Security Council to just have the veto and let it pass. We take it to the General Assembly. When some of us had been calling for the General Assembly to have a greater say, we never enjoyed support. But suddenly today, see, that's where international law begins to mean nothing. Because for some, we see it as a cheating, and for others, we see it as a benefit. So our argument is, let's revise the international multilateral system to ensure that we observe that post-1948 has arrived.
Okay. So we all watched the video and we can attest to it that most of their messages they are trying to send is the facts. They are women. Some years back, we will say women's responsibility is in the kitchen. Now, that's not what is happening. African women are becoming vocal, and they are not trying to sit back to let things slide. It's unfortunately the first video who has been loud advocates of Pan-Africanism, who is Madam Ama Ata Aidoo, has passed. But I know her works has really influenced a lot of Africans, which a lot have learnt from her. And I know some few years to come, we are going to have more brave and courageous women from African continent to defend this continent. I know you enjoyed the video, so you can leave your comment in the comment section and I will reply you. Please don't forget to also subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button so that anytime we upload any content, you will be notified. Thanks for watching.